With the advent of dropper bottles, pots were completely forgotten and thrown into a drawer to rot. But today I'm gonna bring them back to life and tell you why you should stop transferring every single paint of yours into dropper bottles. Are you ready to get a little bit controversial? But why do people love dropper bottles so much? Well, because they're less likely to dry out, they're easy to place directly on the palette, and most of all, you don't run the risk of spilling all your Null oil or contrast paints on your table. Well, on the other end, pots dry out a little bit easier, and when that happens, you're not able to seal the pot properly. So it's gonna dry out even more. And of course, like I said, whether you're using inks, contrast paints, or shades, if you spill them everywhere. And that's bad. Do you know what no one talks about? The cons of the dropper bottle. They're seen like a gift from the above with no flaws whatsoever. The saving tool for miniature painters in all the world. Well, you're f***ing wrong about this. First off, you actually have to transfer your colors from pots to dropper bottle, which is quite a time-consuming process if, like me, you have every single goddamn paint. Second, even though we are trying to push it away from our mind and ignore it, the paint will dry anyway and it will clog our dropper bottle. So if the purpose of your hard work of transferring every single paint into dropper bottle was to avoid paint drying out, you did it! Yay! I'm kidding, by the way. I think we all know what happens when we are extremely lazy and don't want to pick up the paperclip and you just squeeze too much. And plus, I lately noticed that the caps can become clogged as well, so that's annoying. Okay, the point is, I don't loathe dropper bottles, not as much as I loathe zenithal priming. I use regularly dropper bottles. Some of my favorite brands of paints come in dropper bottles. But I would never suggest people to invest all the time into changing from pots to dropper bottles because the truth for me is doesn't change that much. If the paints come already in a dropper bottle, fine, I'm gonna use it. But I really like pots, and you bet I'm gonna avoid all the work of transferring every single paint into dropper bottles. Of course, pots have their issues like everything in our hobby. They may become dry and the lid won't be able to close, but this can be easily avoided or fixed by using just a little bit of care and cleaning. Plus, with pots, you're actually gonna see which colors are you gonna pick out before you put it on your palette. Instead of shaking it for mixing, you can stir it with your brush, which for me is way better and less effort, to be honest. Even though I have to admit it might cause some waste because then you have to clean the back of your brush. But this could be really useful for paints like AK Interactive, which have a lot of medium. In this case, I would actually do the opposite and put AK Interactive paints into pots. No, I wouldn't. I would not. And to pick paint out of the pot, you can use the back of a brush like I did in this video. To be honest, I think pots have a bad rep because of Citadel range, which sometimes has a debatable quality. Anyway, fuck it, I like pots.